In the last video, I discussed all of the current emperors in the world of One Piece, and I said that if that video were to hit 30 likes, then I would make a follow-up where I discussed all of the past emperors. And seeing as we smashed that like goal, I'm back again talking about all of the past emperors, who are much cooler than the current ones in my opinion. So let's jump right on into this and talk about the emperors that came before the current ones. Edward Newgate, or as he's more commonly known, Whitebeard, is the first emperor I'll be talking about today, but before I talk about his life, I quickly want to go over his devil fruit, which is the Gura Gura no Mi, or Quake Quake fruit, and its power probably makes it one of the best devil fruits in One Piece, because it allows its user to cause earthquakes, tsunamis, and even allows them to tilt the world on its side. So yeah, it's the strongest Paramecia type devil fruit for sure, and also one of the strongest in general, with it being so powerful in fact that Sengoku described it as being able to destroy the world. And I don't even think we've seen the extent of its power yet, because from what I could tell, Whitebeard was never able to have an awakening, so if he did, what would the Gura Gura no Mi be capable of? But that's a whole other video in of itself, so I'm just going to move on and talk about the life of Whitebeard, who grew up on an island that was unaffiliated with the world government, making it a bit shit, which is why Whitebeard set out to the sea at a very young age and eventually joined up with the Rocks Pirates, a group of pirates that were made up of extremely infamous people, and that included each of the emperors I'll be talking about today. But I'm gonna solely focus on Whitebeard for now, who fought in the God Valley incident, which was a fight between the Marines, Goldie Roger's crew, the Celestial Dragons, and the Rocks Pirates. However, after this fight, the Rocks Pirates were disbanded because their captain was killed during the fight. So Whitebeard went on to make his own crew, the Whitebeard Pirates, which was less of a crew and more of a family because Whitebeard treated every single member of his crew like his own children. And he's very protective of them, which is why after Ace was beaten by Blackbeard and handed over to the Marines, he launched an all-out war to get him back, which would be known as the Summit War, where Whitebeard and all of his allies from the New World attacked Marine headquarters with all their might so that they could get Ace back. But in the end, they were unable to accomplish this goal, as Akainu, one of the three admirals, kills Ace before they can make their escape. And this makes Whitebeard furious, so he attacks Akainu and does some insane damage, but also takes serious damage himself. For example, having his guts filled with magma and the side of his face blown off. But even then, he doesn't fall, because he has to make sure his family can escape. So he uses the power of his devil fruit to both squash Akainu's head and destroy Marineford, which makes a rift between the Marines and his family, so that they can all escape. But the battle doesn't end there, because Blackbeard, a former member of Whitebeard's crew and one of the current emperors I discussed in the last video, appears with his new crew made up of infamous criminals from Impel Down, and they kill Whitebeard in his injured state. But right before his death, he says a line so iconic it even became a meme, and that line is,
One Piece wa実在する!
This line is very funny, of course, but it was also incredible because the reason he said it was to basically screw over the Marines, as at this point the golden age of piracy was on its last legs because people were starting to believe that the One Piece was just a fairy tale, but seeing as Whitebeard, one of the closest people to Roger, confirmed its existence, it must be real. So in a way, Whitebeard breathed new life into the golden age of piracy, which completely screwed over the Marines because they were trying to make an example out of Whitebeard, who was one of the strongest pirates at this point in the story. But by revealing this, he absolutely destroyed their goal. However, that is the end of Whitebeard, as he died still standing high, with not a single scar on his back, which is a bit of an error because the first injury he took in the battle was a sword wound that went right through him, but hey, it was a good moment, and this tiny error won't ruin this scene for me. And before I move on to the next emperor, I want to rank them all like I did in the last video, and I'm going to put Whitebeard at number 2 on the ranking, because even though he was extremely powerful and had an absolutely busted devil fruit, he was old and had some kind of disease, which I believe was cancer, but it's hard to say what it really was, because I don't believe it was really ever confirmed. But having that disease, whether it was cancer or not, probably weakened him a ton. So I think that number 3 on the ranking is completely fair, but if he was in his prime, he would be number 1. Although that is all I have to say for Whitebeard, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to talk about the next emperor. Kaido, King of the Beasts, was another emperor, but before I talk about his life, I quickly want to discuss his devil fruit like I did with Whitebeard. So, Kaido had the Ua Ua no Mi, or fish fruit, model Azure Dragon, which was a mythical Zoan type devil fruit that allowed him to transform into a dragon, which of course comes with fire breath, but more importantly, he has got extremely high defense, to the point where killing himself became a hobby because he just can't figure out how to do it, which is probably the biggest accidental flex in anime history, if you ask me. But Kaido's power aside, I'm going to go ahead and move on to talk about his life, that, if I'm being honest, wasn't great, because he was made a soldier at a very young age, possibly only being 10 years old when he first became a soldier for his kingdom, which was the Vodka Kingdom. And his kingdom didn't really give two shits about him because they were very quick to hand him over to the Marines in order to gain a better standing with the world government. However, this wouldn't work out for the Marines because Kaido was simply too strong to control, which is why he easily made an escape, but he would allow himself to get captured numerous times by the Marines so that he could steal their food and get some rest. Which is why he also had a 70 million berry bounty put on his head before even meeting with Rox on Pirate Island, who would welcome him as a fellow member of his crew. But like Whitebeard, Kaido would also fight in the Battle of God Valley, where of course Rox died and his crew was disbanded. So Kaido went on to form his own crew, the Animal Kingdom Pirates, which was split up into many sections that I will try my best to explain, starting with Kaido's highest in command, the All-Stars, who are Jack the Drought, Queen the Plague, and King the Wildfire. Two of them being very powerful, although Jack is kinda just a tank because he primarily takes damage and rarely deals damage. But moving on from the All-Stars, because next up is the Toby Roppo, or Flying Six, who are a group of formerly 6 people that are all Elite Shinuchi, which is the group just below the Toby Roppo that is made up of mostly gifters, people who ate Smile Fruits and then got Zoan powers permanently. However, the Toby Roppo all have their own devil fruits, not Smile Fruits, and one of their devil fruits is probably one of my favourites in the entire series because it turns its user into a saber-toothed tiger, which is just so cool to me, and I don't know why. But moving on, because Kaido's crew is massive and I still have a lot to discuss for it. So next up is the Gifters, who are a group made up of weaker Smile Fruit users, so nothing really special here, but at least they're not the Pleasures, because they are crewmates that simply ate a Smile Fruit and got nothing but the smiling part. So they're basically just normal crewmates, just without being able to express any other emotion than pure happiness, which is a little unlucky for them. I mean, if I wasn't going to get a power-up anyways, I would rather just be a waiter, which are the level below the Pleasures, and just basic foot soldiers, really. But moving on, because we still have a little left to discuss about Kaido's crew, such as the Numbers, who are kind of just science experiments that went through gigantification, and we also have the Ninjas and Samurai, who are technically under the control of Orochi, but I suppose they all answer to Kaido. However, before moving on from Kaido's crew, I quickly want to talk about his affiliates and allies, who are the Big Mom Pirates, the Don Quixote Pirates, and the Kurozumi family, and the captain of one of these crews is actually the final emperor I'll be talking about in this video, but I'll talk about them once I finish discussing Kaido. But I won't discuss his connection to the Don Quixote crew and Doflamingo in depth, and just say that Doflamingo is like the cousin to the All-Stars, because like them, he has a nickname that fits with the playing card theme, but he's always separate from the crew. However, with that all said, I'm going to begin talking about Kaido's story again, and we mostly see Kaido in the land of Wano throughout One Piece, but the reason for this is the other affiliate that I didn't talk about, because the head of the Kurozumi family, Orochi, paid Kaido to be pretty much back up for him so that he could take over the land of Wano. But during the Battle of Onigashima, Kaido decides to kill Orochi and turn Wano into a land specifically for weapon manufacturing, whilst he goes off and becomes Pirate King with a fellow emperor. But this doesn't exactly go to plan because Kaido is beaten by Luffy during the Battle of Onigashima because Luffy just won't stay down. Like, Kaido beat him a good few times, but every single time he gets back up and eventually Kaido was beaten, meaning an end to his time as an emperor. Although it's hard to say whether or not he's dead because of how strong his defense is, but either way he is currently taking a nice hot lava bath. So again, it's really hard to say. So I'm just going to move on and rank him at number 1, because if you ask me, his prime is when Luffy fights him, as he has his super powerful Devil Fruit, insane hockey, and a behemoth crew. So overall, he is number 1 on the ranking, but if I was talking about his younger self, I would probably put him at number 3 on the ranking. However, I'm going to go ahead and finish talking about Kaido and talk about our last emperor. Charlotte Linlin, or Big Mom, is the last emperor I have to discuss in today's video, and like the last 2 emperors I've discussed in this video, I will first explain her Devil Fruit, which is the Soro Soro no Mi, or Soul Fruit, and it allows its user to steal years off a person's life, and then use them to make non-living things come alive, which makes her decently strong, but in order for her to use this ability, the person she's using it on must be scared of her, so she has to assume a rather unpleasant form, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Although, with her Devil Fruit now explained, I'll move on to talk about her story that starts with her being abandoned by her parents on an island, only to be taken in by Mother Caramel, who ran an orphanage that was really just a way for her to get children that she could sell to the world government. However, she would be unable to do that with Big Mom because Big Mom would often have fits of blind gluttony, where she will eat anything and everything, which is why on Big Mom's birthday she became so happy with all the treats that Mother Caramel and the other children at the orphanage prepared for her, that she did something messed up. Because Big Mom straight up eats everyone whole, and in doing so she gets her Devil Fruit power, because Mother Caramel was the last person to have the Soul Fruit, and this also proves that you can get Devil Fruit powers by eating people, so that's some really great info that I'm sure a lot of people will be putting to use. But moving on, because Big Mom is another past emperor of the Rocks Pirates, and of course she fought in the Battle of God Valley. Although at this point you should all know how that ended, so Big Mom goes off to form her own crew, the Big Mom Pirates, which are mostly made up of her children, so when I say that I suspect you think there will be maybe 12 kids at a push, but no, she has 85 kids, 46 sons and 39 daughters. Which is completely and utterly insane, and what makes Big Mom the strangest emperor there is. And you know, they all get to live sort of happily on the Toto Islands, which are basically just islands made of different types of food and drink, but things go wrong when a marriage between Sanji and one of Big Mom's daughters, Charlotte Pudding, is arranged, because Luffy will not let that happen. So a few of the Straw Hats alongside the Fire Tank Pirates raid the wedding, where they take Sanji back and destroy Big Mom's precious photo of Mother Caramel, which leads her to chase them all the way to Wano and even give herself a concussion before fighting in the raid of Onigashima as she teams up with Kaido so the two of them can conquer the Grand Line together. But in the end she was beaten by Kid and Law, who were eventually able to beat her, and I don't actually know if she's still alive because she's in the same place as Kaido currently, but unlike Kaido, she hasn't got super great defense, so it's hard to say whether she's still alive. But, you know, I really do hope that she's alive, because I want to see her appear again in the final saga, because I just think it would be very cool. However, that is all I have to say for Big Mom, so I'm going to go ahead and rank her at 2, because her hockey is pretty good, and her devil fruit is relatively versatile, and unlike Whitebeard, she ain't got no disease, so I reckon number 2 on the ranking is completely fair. Although that is the end of the video, so I would like to say that if you did enjoy, please make sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and hit that big red subscribe button, because we are aiming for a total of 500 subs by the end of the year. So just do it, because it's epic, and it would be so funny. But that is the end of the video, so goodbye to you lovely, lovely people.